It's a beautiful morning and it's a beautiful Saturday, as I always call it, because we are here to give you nothing but the best in terms of football and where other sports are concerned. We saw the guys who went to represent us at the Commonwealth game, so we came back from Birmingham yesterday and the day before yesterday, where we were made so proud. But now let me introduce my co-host, who is Augustine. Augustine, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Amos. Good morning and good morning to our viewers out there. We return all the glory and honor to the Most High God. It's always a pleasure to be on set.
The Green Buffaloes, Augustine, women's national. I don't know if it's the Green Buffaloes. Sorry, I don't know what's with the national team. The Green Buffaloes team, Augustine, will be facing Sundowns. That's today at 15, and it's the final, and they've already qualified for the other tournament that are going to be played. But what's your take looking at the journey so far? Is it the morale that the women's national team had? It got boosted into these clubs?
If you look at GBFC, I think firstly I would like to congratulate Green Buffaloes women's team for qualifying for the CAF Champions League. This is the first Zambian club to do so, and the second Southern African side to do so, because it's only Mamelodi Sundowns who qualified after winning the COSAF, and now because Mamelodi Sundowns are the African champions, automatically they qualify to go and defend their trophy. So now GBFC, having qualified to the finals of the COSAFA Cup, they qualified to the Champions League, and congratulations to Green Buffaloes Football Club. It's a journey which started some years back. GBFC have been growing strength to strength every season. You can see the team. It's always getting better. Last time they faced Mamelodi Sundowns, they just lost by 1-0. It was a game of fine margins, and you would see that they have grown into this side. And Irene has been dominating this tournament. I think she's been very a good performer for Green Buffaloes. Lusho Momwemba marshalling the defense together with Agnes Musesa and Martha Tembo, familiar faces for Polo. So you can see the core of Green Buffaloes is based on it's surrounded by players that are playing for the senior national team. Even the young Natasha Nangwenya is it here. She's part of that GBFC team, and they will give Mamelodi Sundowns a couple of problems this afternoon. And I think GBFC have got a chance to win it this afternoon when they face Sundowns. Sundowns haven't looked like they looked the previous time when they went on to win the Champions League. They've lost a couple of players who have moved on. I fancy GBFC to go in and get a very good result, because Helen Chanda has looked very positive. Teresa Chewe may come up front and produce the goods. She's very good when she's in the box. I just wish the girls all the best as they take on Mamelodi Sundowns this afternoon. And lastly, last weekend after the show, I met someone in town, a Mighty Mufulia Wanderers fan. The man stopped me and said, "Why don't you talk about Mighty Mufulia Wanderers?" And I was like, we'll try and find something positive to talk about Mighty Mufulia Wanderers. They're a team which is playing in the National League. They missed out on qualification just on the last day of the season, because they had to hope for results elsewhere so that Mighty Mufulia Wanderers would bounce back. I think it would be good to see Mighty Mufulia Wanderers back, because now we have got Changa Rangers back in the Super League. We would love to see Mighty Mufulia Wanderers as well back in the Super League.
But then coming back, Augustine, to the same Green Buffaloes game versus Sundowns, let's look at the added advantage that Sundowns have in terms of them playing at home ground. That's home soil. Do you think that will be of intimidation to the GBFC players?
I think it can work both ways. It can be an advantage for Sundowns because they are playing on their home turf, but it can also be something which will put pressure on them, because the expectations from the fans will be very, very huge, and the pressure might just get to the players. And Green Buffaloes going into this game, they may play with the much needed freedom because they feel that they have got nothing to lose. They are considered as the underdogs going into this encounter. That will try and help GBFC try and get out of their shells because they have got nothing to lose. They can just go out there, attack Mamelodi Sundowns and get the result.
Anyway, that's just a quick one. And Green Buffaloes women's team is facing Sundowns today. That's at 15:30. The game is being played in South Africa. And we'll just take a very short break as we get back and look at the Charity Shield game that is being played today. Red Arrows versus Napsa Stars. For me, that's a repeat of the ABSA Cup final, and hopefully the better team will carry the day. For now, we'll just take a very short break.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
An individual with a dream to register your presence in Zambia and around the world. Waste no time, because Camnet Television is offering an opportunity to sponsor any of the following programs: the main news, national matters, breakfast show, the verdict, partnership of greatness, economic briefcase, business and sports news. For more details, call the following numbers. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
I'm back.
Welcome back, and like I said earlier, we'll talk on the Red Arrows game, but for now let's look at the CAF preliminary rounds, Augustine, that we had done. Red Arrows facing an odd team that I don't know if it's we'll call it a back-to-back game. And we now will face either Simba or what's the other team? But do you feel like Red Arrows will pull through?
If you are last season, Red Arrows played Premier de Augusto in the CAF Confederations Cup, and Red Arrows eventually went through by beating them 1-0 on aggregate. Red Arrows won at Hero Stadium, 1-0. The goal was scored by the veteran striker James Chamanga. And they could have won it by many goals. Red Arrows, they had a lot of chances in that encounter at National Hero Stadium. They flagged their lines a couple of times. They were a bit wasteful when they played Premier de Augusto. And after the game, I had some question marks with Red Arrows going to Angola with a slander lead, because a 1-0 lead, I think it's one of the most dangerous leads in world football, and to go with such an aggregate to Angola, the side of Premier de Augusto's stature, it's a team which has had previously played the semi-finals of.
Let's just try to pick this call. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you.
Your name and where you are calling us from?
I'm Tembo, calling you from Badese.
Oh, okay. You can go ahead with your contribution, Mr. Tembo.
Yes, we are following the thank you to Mr. Augustine Wanza. Corruption is meeting today.
Yes.
He's out on duty covering something, sir.
So, okay, tell him we are meeting him on the show.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah, my concern is on the rumors over the two Premier Team leagues.
Mm-hmm.
This is Houston and the other team. Maybe Mr. Manza can shed some light. What is going on? Is that they are playing or not be playing this season?
Yeah.
If they will not be playing, do we have replacements and what are those? Maybe Mukrela Wanderers can also have a chance to jump into the backward one. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for coming through. For your contribution, you can as well call and give us that contribution that you want. But our question for today is: who do you think will carry the game between Red Arrows versus Napsa Stars? And that's the Charity Shield game, which is the first game being played in the Zambian league this season. It's just a curtain laser for me. So who are you giving it to? Maybe Augustine, before we continue on the rounds of the preliminary, maybe just touch a bit on the same issue of the Beautycon and Lusaka Dynamo situation.
Yeah, so FAS Football Association of Zambia released a statement during the course of the week that suspended Beautycon and Lusaka Dynamos from participating until I think there was a date which was set, which was yesterday, Friday, for an appeal between Lusaka Dynamos and Beautycon. Yeah, there are some rules that these two sides allegedly breached by Football Association of Zambia. Like any other team, they have to go through certain rules, and if they do not oblige, they get punished. And Lusaka Dynamos and Beautycon are not going to be an exception. They have to face the law. So they were given time to appeal. We are yet to get whether the appeal was sent in yesterday by the two teams, but I think the disciplinary committee will look at this issue. They will look at the appeals, and then they'll make a decision, because you do realize these committees are different. There's a disciplinary committee, and there's those appeals committee whereby teams will go and appeal. So these committees will sit sitting around table trying to find the solution. So we'll update the viewers as it unfolds. But as at now, these two teams I think they're suspended for now. We wait to hear from Football House the next directive.
And has something like this ever happened in the Zambian football?
Yeah, I think it happened with Nakambala Leopards. Is it a couple of seasons ago? Yeah, and now it has come to Lusaka Dynamos and Beautycon. I think, to me, the biggest blame should go to these individual clubs in how they dealt with a lot of issues. You remember there are issues of unpaid players at Lusaka Dynamos. A lot of players took them to FIFA. Yeah, and at Beautycon there were some issues that has brought Beautycon Football Club to where it is right now. I think they've been struggling. We haven't heard of them doing any pre-season training at the start of the season, because there are a lot of issues going on at Beautycon. They've lost a lot of players. I think these two clubs just need to put their house in order. It's a shame that Lusaka Dynamos were seen as a club which will dominate Zambian football in the near future, but they just didn't do it in the right way, and this has come back to bite them.
So we'll keep on updating in terms of how the procedure will be going, or if these teams will, or maybe their appeals will be heard, so that we'll inform you, our viewers, to see if they'll still remain in the top flight league, because Lusaka Dynamos is already playing in the Eden, and we've got Beautycon, who is in the Super League. So, Augustine, coming back to, we've seen the team which is going to win, which is Red Arrows, and Primero Augusto will face either Niassa Big Bullets or Simba. And we are looking at the Red Arrows, who managed to go through or to pass through Augusto, that's last season. But are we looking at, should Red Arrows underestimate?
No, I think going into the Champions League is a different ball game. Premier de Augusto, yes, they have had there are few problems in recent past. I think last season they finished, I think, is it second in the Angolan league, just on goal difference, if I'm not mistaken. They didn't strengthen as much. In fact, they haven't brought in any new player as at now. Premier de Augusto, they're a club which is going through under financial challenges. I'm meant to understand the management of the football club have resorted into investing in infrastructures rather than strengthening their team.
Let's just speak this call. Hello?
Are you getting?
Yes, good morning, sir.
Are you getting clear?
Yes, we are able to get you clearly, sir.
Hello, are you getting me clear?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, we are getting you.
Okay, I'm saying my name is Bronson.
Oh, okay. Where are you calling us from? Yeah, you can go ahead with your contribution.
Okay, the difference between napsa and the red arrow.
Yes.
I feel red arrows today are winning. 2 goals by 0.
That's your prediction?
2 red arrows 2,
Uh-huh.
napsa 0.
And who do you think will score the goals for Red Arrows?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm getting you.
Who are you giving the goals to at Red Arrows? Who is going to score the goals?
Oh, I can't see clearly for now.
Okay, but thank you for your contribution and thanks for coming through.
Thank you.
Thank you. People there are start giving their predictions, but even maybe just to go to this same topic, Augustine, even the APSA Cup, I think a lot of predictions were given to Red Arrows, and I'm looking at the Red Arrows that wouldn't want to maybe underrate who people maybe will feel like they are the underdogs, but for me, napsa Stars going into this game is not an underdog anymore after beating Red Arrows for the APSA Cup.
Yeah, they won't be an underdog. It's going to be an interesting final this afternoon at Nkoloma Stadium. But just as we wrap up with the CAF draws, Red Arrows, if they get through Premier de Augusto, they will face Nyasa Big Bullets of Malawi or Simba. in the tussle to qualify into the group stages. I think Red Arrows will look at this small window as a very, very big opportunity for them to get into the group stages. They have participated in CAF competitions for three times now, and haven't reached the group stages yet, the Airmen, and this is a very, very big opportunity to try and get through to the group stages. These are very, very tricky games, if you ask me, and we just hope that they make it into the group stages so that we get back our 4 slots. Zesco United down by. People might be wondering why we're not talking about Zesco United, but Zesco United are in by. They'll probably meet the South African team if is it Raw AM if they go through against I've forgotten the name of the team, but once they go through they play Zesco United. That on paper it looks good for Zesco United to progress to the 3rd round of the qualification, which will become very, very tough, because you do realize that if Zesco United get through this next stage, which they will enter, that 3rd round they'll meet teams that will drop off from the Champions League, which will be very, very difficult.
Let's just speak this call, guys. Hello.
Hello, my name is Regis.
Oh, okay. You can. Hello. Yeah.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Yeah. My name is Regis. I'm just going to contribute about the football team.
Yeah.
I heard you're talking about napsa and Red Arrows.
Yes.
Can I say something about the football team association? They need to communicate with this company, Zamfio. We can have our own team, like our own Zamfio league. For instance, we talk for Zamfio and every Zamfio company, and to make it that the tournament league, even they can come in. Like the way Africans are doing it, they have their own this TV Cup. Like their own companies that need also to do it. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that contribution.
Yeah, that's a very, very good contribution. He's brought up very, very good points here.
So, okay, coming back now, Augustine, to the same to the same Charity Shield Cup. This is being sponsored by Black Label, carrying Black Label. And when you look at it, mostly that brand is from South Africa, if I'm not mistaken, Augustine. And looking at what he's saying is very true. Do you have something like, we remember back then, maybe I'll start with schools, we had something that was being sponsored by Coca-Cola, and we saw a lot of talent being discovered there. What if we try to implement what he's saying, where these network providers which is maybe government owned, should come up with such a tournament.
Yeah, we had a couple of years ago, like 10 years ago, 2012, we had Airtel Rising Stars. Yeah, and a couple of talents were discovered through that program. One of them is Person Daka, who is currently playing for Leicester City. So you can see the good that it has done to people's careers. I think to me, you remember Manchester United, we are also part of that Airtel Rising Stars, and you would see when Rooney, Danny Welbeck during that time doing adverts, and the message was clear. They were saying, if you're out there, we'll find you. And this is a very, very good example. Patson Daka, they found Patson Daka is now playing for Leicester City. Another player who was discovered through that Airtel Rising Stars was Grace Chanda, who was very, very good at the Women's Africa Cup of Nations tournament. Because Patson Daka, I remember, for the boys tournament, was top scorer for Lusaka. And Grace Chanda, for the women's tournament, she was top scorer for Copper Belt. So you can see that it was a very, very good platform. A lot of talents were identified through that period, and some players that I will be going onto the turf today, like Twiza Chaiwera, although he's injured, he was part of that Lusaka team together with Patson Daka. So if we can try and find a way whereby we can try and improve our grassroots football, a lot of sponsorship should come in and try and improve our youth football. You can see the Super Disc in South Africa. It's very, very attractive. The Football Association of Zambia will need to get to their ground to try and look for sponsorship. It's not very easy during these times, but they can try and find something so that we can try and discover the next Enoch Mwepo, the next Patson Daka.
Coming to the game today, Augustine, let's look at the game which will be played today. We saw the inclusion of Napsa Stars, brought in 4 players. One of them being Jackson Kakunda, and if I'm not mistaken, he's still the product of Red Arrows, and he's still under Red Arrows, if I'm not mistaken. So, but let's look at the game today where Napsa Stars has brought in players, and Red Arrows at some point has lost a bit of key players that they had for last season. How hard is it, or how difficult is it going to be for Red Arrows?
I think it's going to be a very, very tough contested encounter in Koloma Stadium this afternoon. It's a local derby for that matter. Red Arrows taking on Napsa is always a game which produces sparks. We've seen Emmanuel Mayuka score last time when Napsa Stars were in the league. He scored a brace at Koloma Stadium. It eventually went to end in a 2-2 draw. Red Arrows going into this game, the champions of the Super League, against the champions of the Absa Cup, the Napsa Stars, who beat them in the final by 1-0. We'll try and prove a point, because there are a lot of question marks surrounding Red Arrows. The departures of Alassane Diarra, the departure of Alidu Ali Kaembe, and the departure of Trezor Shibaba, who was Red Arrows player of the season last year. They've left a very, very big gap, if you ask me, but Red Arrows, they're confident with the players they've replaced them with. They've brought in Rudy Makwekwe from Congo, who come in as a direct replacement for Trezor Shibwabwa. In central midfield, Red Arrows have got enough options, if you ask me. They have brought in Thomas Zulu from Kafue Celtic, a very, very good central midfielder. He dictates play very well. He's the Kondwani Mutonga kind of play. He's the kind of player who suits perfectly in Red Arrows' philosophy, because Red Arrows are a passing team. They like to play between the thirds very, very well. They have got George Mando last season, who was always the impact player coming from the bench. He did a very, very good job for Red Arrows last season. George Mando, he can easily step into that role where Alassane Diarra was playing, and they have got Mukuka Kafula, a young product who has come through Red Arrows ranks and has grown into a big player. Probably Chisimbe will give him a little bit of responsibility this season so that he can grow as a player. Mukuka Kafula, he's a very, very talented young lad, and he excites a lot of Red Arrows fans, but he hasn't played that much because he had a very, very terrible injury which was laid off for almost 6 months. And coming into this afternoon's game, on the back of Red Arrows' mind, they'll remember what happened in the Absa Cup when Napsa Stars went in as underdogs and upset the hosts. In that encounter, Napsa Stars were very, very solid. They had a very, very good structure. They played on a counter and they hit Red Arrows where it hurt the most, and they sat on the lead. They were very, very intelligent in how they managed the game with Coach Pem Tapad. Like a month ago, we talked about that final. Napsa Stars had everything planned very, very well. They would love to repeat that this afternoon. Yesterday at the press conference, it was playing on radars back of their minds. You could see with Benedict Chepeshi, the captain, who responding to questions. He said that they are very much aware of what Napsa Stars has for them because they remember how.
Let's just speak this call first, Augustine.
I want to contribute to the program.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, we're able to hear you. Can kindly go ahead.
My name is Ruben Tangwa.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, you can go ahead with your contribution.
Sir, I want to go.
Come again. Hello. I think we've lost that call, Augustine. But Augustine,
I think it's Ruben Kangwa something. I heard the name. I think something like that.
For those who are calling us, maybe try to call us again and kindly reduce the volume on the TV set because we are getting feedback from here. Augustine, maybe before we talk more of the game, for me personally, I feel like we don't mostly. The advertisement of such games is less. So looking at the hyperness, usually the only game mostly that is being advertised, if you've noticed, is our yellow versus our red. But looking at such a game like the way Red Arrows is playing Napsa Stars today and the way it has been, for me I feel like it hasn't been advertised the way it's supposed to be.
Hello.
Let's just speak this call. Hello?
Hello.
Yellow, good morning.
Hello.
Yellow, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
We are okay, how are you?
Thank you.
Your name and where you are calling us from, sir?
This is Dan calling from Kapadokia.
Oh, okay. You can go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, I was about to establish the view that I thought this was I'm not a person one way I read my interview and bought some good times that I do in Zambia or internationally. Looking at the players who are playing football, I've seen some who can even do better, who are playing in the villages. So if we can have a good sponsorship, who can go in the villages, just come up with tournaments and identify that where the man who is on the left-hand side. Something that was identified to do some games which came up with. So if we are going to have some sponsors where people can go into the common open some of the time, definitely, trust me, they can identify good charities. I've witnessed that I've worked with those guys in the company, and they are all prayer. Such that if you are to enter a company, you can have good prayer in Zambia. So we just wait for some people who can go out there and identify that and quickly come on. Believe me, we are not underestimating those who are paying in the community in town or the kinds where we have it. But there are others who can also meet the standards of funds in Zambia.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks so much.
Augustine, he's looking at player identification and mostly. Okay, let me just give this example. We saw this guy James, who we used to call Rooney, the guy we used to play with Augustine back then. He's in Katete, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
But look at how he performed within the playoffs for those teams that were supposed to qualify to the Eden. He scored some beautiful goals, but it's very difficult to identify him. Maybe from the time he went back to Katete, maybe no one is even there to observe his performances.
No. So for James, after his performance at the playoffs for the National League, Car Warriors came in and they tapped him. He's with Car Warriors right now, and I think to me you can see that there's talent in rural areas. There's talent in these compounds. The previous caller is spot on. I must agree with him. A good example I kept on waxing really cool about a couple of seasons ago is Makabaniso Magenge. Lusaka Dynamos went into the compounds and picked Makabaniso Magenge, and he was Lusaka Dynamos' best player. without even spending a lot of money on him. And they bought players from around Africa to come to Lusaka Dynamos, but still he was the one who was standing out, was the best. I'll give you a good example of Shapi Chikondinjov, who is at Green Eagles right now. Came through the ranks in Kaunda Square. He was picked by Green Eagles. Now he's one of the best defenders in the Zambian league. Fashion Sakala, he was discovered in rural areas, and now he's playing in Scotland. He's even been in European competitions like the Europa final. So I think the man is very, very right. We just need to cast our net very, very wide. We need to be strategic in how we scout talent. Yes, there's a lot of raw talent out there which needs polishing. They just need to just go to the ground, try and have scouts who look for these boys and bring them to the big league. The Super League teams, I think, to me, should help the national team, because most of the times a national team cannot go into these rural areas and pick a player and bring them direct to the national team. It will be a very, very big step for the boys, and it might destroy their careers if they fail to perform. But the clubs are the ones that needs to go to the ground. They need to identify talent and pick this talent and bring them to these big leagues. The Football Association of Zambia, the best they can do is have an organized youth league, so that we can see a lot of this young talent coming through.
But don't you think this has to start with these teams, all the teams playing in the Zambian Super League, Augustine, coming up with maybe academies or maybe junior teams?
Yeah. I can confidently say that half of these teams have got youth teams, but they are not playing in the same league. They are not playing in a very organized league. They play in a league which is organized, Lusaka League, something organized by a different committee away from the Football Association of Zambia. We see Red Arrows participate. We see napsa Stars. napsa Stars at least are playing at the high level. They are playing in Division 1. But we need to have a youth league which will probably have under 19, under 17, which will be played across the country. Probably, for example, Zesco United is coming to play napsa Stars. They may as well come with their youth team, so that it might be
curtain race. Yeah, true.
So we may try and find ways and means of how we can polish up our youth system. There is a lot of cry with the foreign quota out there, but what are we doing to try and improve the chances of our young local players being developed and coming to play in the big league? We're not doing much, but we're talking about foreigners coming in and taking over our league. It's us who are not doing a lot of work to try and develop players through our system and sell them on in the near future. Look at how Cafe Celtic does their business. They grow their own talent, they polish them up, and then they sell them on. A lot of clubs can make a lot of money through that and sustain themselves for a larger period, because we are seeing clubs that coming into this season, some clubs, news that is coming through is that Gomes probably have got financial problems and they might not play the Eden League. So you can see, if clubs are strategically running themselves as a business and trying to identify young talent, bringing them on board, polishing them up, and then sending them on, I think to me they wouldn't be going through these financial challenges.
Then let's look at the management. You've spoken well, Augustine. Maybe we are running out of topic a bit, but let's look at the organization that's there at Kafue Celtic and maybe Shame or Mayembe. We've seen these two clubs, Augustine, importing players.
Yeah,
we've seen Miguel Chaiwa now playing for Young Boys.
There's another young lad from Kafue Celtic. I've forgotten his name, but he's a right back. He's going to Red Bull Salzburg. He's going for trials. So you can see that these guys have set up their institution in a way whereby they want to see this talent being developed and being exported out there for to the big league, so that it will help the Zambian league grow. Because Kafue Celtic, just during this period, they've sold Alassane Diarra to Saudi Arabia. They've sold Albert Kangwanda and Peter Chikola to Croatia, and now this young lad. So you can see that there's a proper structure. They've got a vision, they've got a long-term project, short-term project, medium-term project. They've got an idea of where they see themselves in the next 10 years. But most of these Super League clubs do not. They depend on their sponsors, and if things go bad with their sponsors, the team collapses. We need to see these teams being run independently. They need to be run as a business, so that they can stand on their own even when tough times come. If you are, for example, you are a team which sells player like Lamek Banda to Lecce. He went there around $1.8 million, if I'm not mistaken. That's a lot of money. If a Zambian club can sell a player maybe $1 million to a European club, that's a lot of money when it comes into your system, and then you manage those resources very well. Try and identify the next talent that the previous two callers have talked about. Talent identification, identify the best talent in the country and then sell them on. These clubs will keep on running without needing financial assistance from anyone.
Looking at such teams, you know, we've got our very own Canet Stars, which is coming up very, very, very well, and it's a team that has got a vision on its own, and even the proprietors themselves, they are looking forward into achieving a lot and helping this talent that a lot of people are failing to identify. So Canet Stars trains from Kablonga, and right about now they are preparing for the coming season where they managed to qualify for Division 5 and Division 2. So look out for Canet Stars mostly. And Augustine, coming back to the same Red Arrows versus Napsa Stars, maybe just your concluding remark on this one as we go and look at some of the European games that are being played today. What's your prediction in today's game?
I think it's going to be a very, very close encounter. Napsa Stars, they haven't strengthened that much. I think Pei Mutapa is happy with the squad that he had from the Eden League. Now he's come up. He's strengthened. He's brought in Mwimanzi from Green Buffaloes. He's going to try and strengthen his back line. He's brought in Leonard Mulenga from Green Buffaloes as well. He was once a player who was featuring for the Chipolo Polo. He brings that vast experience. His dictating of the play in central midfield is going to be very, very key for Napsa Stars. I think my only worry for Napsa Stars currently is up front, because they scored about they are winning a lot of goals, games by 1-0 last season. But will that be enough in the Super League? I don't think so. Musonda Kapembwa scored about 7 goals last season. Will that be good enough for a team? Probably not. I think they need to do more in their attacking areas. But Coach Pei Mutapa is very, very smart. He's very, very intelligent. The way he works with these boys, he'll try and find a way of seeing them survive this season and then get to the next level the next season to try and challenge probably for a continental place. And this afternoon's game is a very, very good stage for both Red Arrows and Napsa Stars. Red Arrows, they go into this game having won the 3 teams tournament at Nkoloma Stadium without conceding a goal. Defensively, they look very, very solid. Up front, they look like a side which didn't go on a break. They just started where they left off. They're scoring goals for fun. It's going to be interesting to see how they try and come up against Napsa Stars, which will be very, very solid, which will be very, very hard to break down. Jackson Kakunta might not play for Napsa Stars this afternoon because he's on loan from Red Arrows. He can't face his spine club. Napsa Stars, I'm interested to see how Jimmy Mukeya comes up this afternoon, because he has had a very, very tough 18 months for a young lad of like Jimmy Mukeya, but he's being helped by the club to try and get back to his level base. And we saw him at the national team. He came in against Mozambique. He looked bright. He looked bright in the APSA Cup final against Red Arrows. And it's a 50-50 game this afternoon at Nkoloma Stadium. Napsa Stars will have this a spring in their step, having beat Red Arrows in the APSA Cup final, but Red Arrows would want to try and win the first silverware of the season on their home soil.
Imagine the 30 shortlist man for the Ballon d'Or is out, Augustine, and one so-called GOAT is missing for the first time, who is Lionel Messi. And a lot of speculations were, he went to a better club. But let's look at him missing out on the short list, Augustine, before we look at these games. Was this expected?
He scored, is it 2 goals in Liga? How do you expect someone who scored 2 goals in Liga to be part of the shortlist for Ballon d'Or? I think to me, Messi is one of the greatest players to have ever graced football. But to include him on the Ballon d'Or shortlist would be an insult to football, if I have to be honest, because there are players that have done very well than him this season, players that have done well than Cristiano Ronaldo this season. Probably we won't even see Messi and Cristiano close to that top 3. They won't even be part of that top 3. If we have to be realistic, the best player should be Sadio Mane. He helped Liverpool reach the Champions League final. He helped his team win the Africa Cup. He qualified his team to the World Cup. Him and Karim Benzema are the front runners for this award. Lewandowski will have a say in and around there. I think to me it's just basically these 3. Maybe Mo Salah would be one who would be knocking because they had a very, very good season with Liverpool. But you cannot see past these players. Probably Kevin De Bruyne. Yeah, maybe Erling Haaland, no. Kylian Mbappe, no. They'll have their opportunities in future, but I feel 2 African boys deserve a place there, and probably Benzema and Lewandowski.
We've got some games today. The EPA Augustine is back, and we saw some disappointing results that was last week. And today we've got a couple of games at 13:30. We've got Aston Villa, who is going to host Everton, and at 16 hours we've got Arsenal hosting Leicester City. At 16 hours we've got Brighton and Hove Albion hosting Newcastle United. At 16 hours again we have got Manchester City hosting FC Bournemouth. And at 16 hours again we've got Southampton hosting Leeds and Wolverhampton hosting Fulham. And lastly but not the least, at 18:30 we've got Brentford hosting Manchester United. Maybe just to start off with Manchester United, starting the season with a loss at home.
Yeah, you could see that Eric Ten Hag has got a lot of work to do at Manchester United. They played against a Brighton side, which tactically they were superior in that game against United. You would see Manchester United midfielders failing to pass the ball, and they were dominated by Pascal Gross, who scored a brace against United. He just loved scoring against United. It was his 6th goal against the Old Trafford side. And going in that game, I think to me there was no positive United can take away from that game. They are dominated in all areas by Brighton. Brighton eventually conceded through an own goal. But if you look at their all-round performance, it was very, very solid. They let United have the ball, then they hit them on the counter. Danny Welbeck was a handful for Harry Maguire. He gave him a very, very tough afternoon on that day. I think it's probably one of the best games I've seen Adam Lallana play in the Premier League. He was dictating play for Brighton. He controlled that United midfield. They couldn't get close to him. And there was another boy who was very, very impressive, Caicedo, in central midfield. I think you wouldn't even feel that Brighton lost if Bissouma, because Caicedo was very, very good. He was very, very dominant in central midfield, and United lost the game because they were toothless. They lacked ideas. They played without character. It was more like everything they did in pre-season, they just forgot about them when they stepped onto the Old Trafford.
Anyway, let's look at some of the first games that are going to be played today. We've got La Liga, which is back also Augustine, with a couple of games today. We've got Celta Vigo hosting Espanyol, Rio Valladolid hosting Villarreal, Barcelona hosting Rayo Vallecano. But we are looking at the Barcelona squad that is yet to register players like Lewandowski, is it Rafinha, and Casey. Issues surrounding everywhere, but let's look at the excitement. Are we seeing a different Barcelona this season?
Yeah, I think reports that were coming from Spain after their, is it 4th economic lever yesterday, they said that probably Robert Lewandowski would be registered for the start of La Liga, but question marks still with Christensen, Casey, yeah, and Rafinha. It's very tricky situation for Barcelona. Whatever Laporte is trying to do at Barcelona, it's just a short-term fix. It may backfire in the long run for Barcelona, but it's exciting times for Barcelona fans looking at the caliber of players they've brought in. Julius Koundé, I think to me, is one of the most outstanding signings. Chelsea fans will be crying he didn't go to Stamford Bridge, but he's a good addition to Barcelona because they have been leaking in goals. He's coming, he's very, very energetic. He's a young player. You only grow and get better. If you look at Robert Lewandowski, you are guaranteed goals with Robert. And the signing of Rafinha, he brings that creative part to Barcelona. If they can get these players signed and registered for the start of La Liga, there are promising times for Barcelona this season.
And we can't shy away from the Italian Mafia's League. Augustine, the Serie A is back as well. We've got Milan hosting Udinese, we've got Sampdoria hosting Atalanta, we've got Lecce hosting Inter, and we've got Monza hosting Torino. Are we seeing Lamek Banda making his debut today?
It's the game that I'm looking forward to in Serie A. Lecce hosting Inter Milan is going to be a very, very tough encounter for Lecce. You are coming up with an Inter Milan side on your first day back in the top flight. I hope Lamek Banda will be given a nod by the coach because he really shares such big occasions. The young lad is fearless. He's very, very positive. He's direct, Lamek Banda. And coming up against an Inter Milan side, you couldn't ask for a better stage to announce yourself to the Italian league. This is a very, very good opportunity. I hope he will be given a chance. They rate him very, very highly. They went to Israel and signed him. They have got a proper plan for Lamek Banda, and I hope he'll play a part against Inter Milan and give them problems.
France, we've got some games as well. Today we've got AS Monaco facing Stade Rennais, and we've got PSG facing Montpellier. We are seeing a PSG side that started with a banger, and hopefully they will continue going through with that. And some other leagues as well are having games today, Augustine. But let's look at the Leicester City versus Arsenal game. For me, this is one of the biggest games that we have today. Arsenal hosting Leicester City. Our very own Patson Daka has been maybe banging goals during the preseason. Are we seeing him start this game?
I think I was very, very disappointed in the first game against when Leicester played Brentford. Looking at how Patson Daka started the season, the way he did in preseason, he was given the nod ahead of Vardy and most of the players, and he did very well. He scored a number of goals in preseason, and coming into the league, they revert back to their old thing of starting Patson Daka on the bench, just playing him some 20 minutes or so. I think the coach should have a little bit of faith and started Patson Daka probably to try and see if he's really ready to take up that number 9 position ahead of Jimmy Vardy, because Jimmy Vardy is not getting any younger. And if they're not getting Patson Daka ready, Leicester City will find themselves in problems. They're coming up against an Arsenal side which has strengthened. They've brought in the likes of Zinchenko. They've brought in Gabriel Jesus. I think he's very, very good. He's a very good addition to Arsenal. They've recorded young William Saliba from Marseille. He's a very, very promising young talent, the French defender. Him with Ben White and Gabriel, they form a very, very good back three for the Gunners, and the Gunners are one of the most exciting teams to watch this season in the Premier League. It's all about how does Mikel Arteta assemble his charges and try and challenge for those top 4 slots. They're coming up against a Leicester side which threw away a 2-goal lead at home. It was very, very disappointing for Brendan Rodgers and his men. They go into this game with a disappointment, and then they're coming up with an Arsenal team which played very well on the opening day against Crystal Palace. Leicester City will try and hit Arsenal on the counter. They'll sit back, soak up pressure, and they'll depend on the pace of Jimmy Vardy in the final third to try and hurt Arsenal. But I think I see an Arsenal victory again with Gabriel Jesus scoring on his home debut.
Due to time, Augustine, you have come to the end of the show. Just your final remarks as we close.
I think big thanks to everyone that tuned in to watch this show. We always appreciate your contribution, and all roads lead to Nkoloma Stadium. Bola Pazed is back and boring weekends are over. So we will be at Goloma Stadium to cover Napsa Stars against Red Arrows in this Charity Shield. This is the first of its kind. Even the trophy that will be presented to the team, it will be the first team that will win it. And we just wish both teams all the best. And a big thanks to the entire production team for making this possible. To all our viewers, thank you for your time. We'll see you same time next week.
We've come to the end of the show, and like Augustine has said, on behalf of the whole entire production team, not that's Bimak upstairs, not forgetting Eliza Chifita, one Mambwe man who is who I always call Mambwe man for me, Elias Mambwe man, and Isaac home there. I hope you get well soon, my bro, and not forgetting Uncle Fred, wishing you a quick recovery. And I've been your host. Oh, not forgetting Uncle Rapson, who is on a mission to cover something, and for the pastors Victoria and Moses Chiluba for always giving us the platform to give you nothing but the best in terms of sports. I've been your host Amos, aka Amore. Stay glued to Camnet TV for amazing Atamanda is coming on your screens with the weekly gospel. For me, Amos, it's bye bye. See you next week, same time, same place. We're out.